It's time!
Welcome to High School Pitchside. We have another fascinating episode for you.
More matches, more big clashes.
Let's talk about some of the big rivalries coming up this week.
More of your favorite features.
And trust me, you won't fall asleep in this history class.
And of course, we always want to hear from you.
Hear from your alma mater's players and coaches in Team Talk.
You know we can't leave you out. So send us your messages on social media and watch us react on FanView.
And you know we love a good little debate, right, Gio?
We've got you covered all season long on High School Pitchside.
High School Pitchside, your ultimate guide to all things schoolboy football, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
Need to estimate your duty? Perform a track and trace? Search for a declaration?
Then download the Jamaica Customs mobile app today. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is joining us for CVM News at Noon. It's Wednesday, November 12, 2025. I'm Amoy Harriet. We begin this afternoon with news coming out of St. James that 2 persons are now in serious condition following a 2-vehicle collision along the Elegant Corridor in Rose Hall earlier this morning. Now, reports said that around 8 o'clock, a Nissan wagon was heading towards Falmouth while a Mercedes-Benz motorcar was traveling in the opposite direction. Now, police believe the driver of the Nissan may have been attempting to avoid water settled on the roadway when the vehicle crossed the median and slammed into the Mercedes-Benz. Now, both drivers were rushed to hospital, with the driver of the Nissan suffering more serious injuries. Now, investigations into the crash are ongoing. Now, in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, many Jamaicans are left to confront the devastation at their homes. But for members of the church, they're seeking answers from above as dozens of churches lie in ruin. Now, one such church is the 130-year-old Mount Ward Methodist Church in Ramble, Hanover. Crystal Williams has this story.
Many churches have been damaged by the recent Hurricane Melissa. One such church was considered to be a historical monument across Western Jamaica. The 130-year-old Mount Ward Methodist Church in Ramble, Hanover, a safe space for persons of the faith living in Jamaica and abroad, tumbled during Hurricane Melissa, leaving members with no immediate place to worship, yet somehow they continue to gather.
A few of us come out on Sundays and we get together and cope and sing few songs and pray, drop our offering, as it should be.
Eli Smith, member of the Mount Ward Methodist Church, believes restoration will be achieved by rebuilding rather than trying to repair, as he recalls the building strategies used in the century before the last.
I don't think this can repair, you know, because as you see, it is pure stone. But in those days, you didn't have much cement and sand. You used to use white sand, sea sand, which you know, that's a pure salt. If you look at it, you know, see no cement, you know. You see like something like, what do they call it? It's not marl, like a white lime in those days.
He says what remains of the building is still being used as a shelter, not for the first time, but potentially its last.
First time, people used to come here to shelter through storm.
Devastated this.
Yes, yes. Because in Gilbert, quite a few people was here through Gilbert. And Gilbert was a dangerous man.
Eli also says the 5-bedroom area created by the ministering missionaries to the church have also been destroyed. He believes that this is a sign.
Something is wrong in the church, either the head one or whatever it might be, or something is wrong. And God sends a sign to us. He's showing us some sign. Not this church alone, some sign, man.
Crystal Williams, CVM News.
Now, in the wake of Hurricane Melissa's devastation, stories of kindness and resilience continue to emerge from across the island. In Clarendon, one father and son duo is being hailed for their good deeds, helping residents in the northern sections of the parish regain internet connectivity and reconnect with their loved ones. Clarendon native and CVM's reporter Akeem Oret has more in their mission of hope.
The northern sections of Clarendon are still struggling to recover from the destruction left behind by Hurricane Melissa. Power lines are down, roads destroyed, and many are left cut off from communication. But for one man and his son, this was the time to step in and make a difference.
I drive around with the internet on my car. Like, people still get connected with them friends and family overseas or who they hear locally where they're in a ear or not so damaged. Because as you know, the telecommunication service, we go under 40%. So it's like a minimal amount of person here could actually send or receive information, where in this era I was like the only person. You understand? So we just go around, check, do some aerial, make sure say everybody alright, and give update, make them talk to them family and all of them things there.
Armed with portable equipment and determination, the father-son team has been working non-stop to restore internet access in small communities. But not only that, Roberts says he is on another mission.
When we try get the business place them up and running. For example, when we do first, we try power the Western Union, where people could collect funds, and then we do the pharmacy, which is the next ideal location where people come there for your health card, then debit and credit card, then come then can be them prescription because the fee high, and if they don't have the access to the health card, then we make it fee too high. So we make sure that the pharmacy, we have a pharmacy where we have internet where people can use them debit card and so on. Then we start doing the wholesale them and all of them that people can use their debit card and so on.
However, their mission wasn't without challenges. Roberts recalls a tense moment when, while trying to help a friend restore internet access, he encountered a setback.
And we couldn't reach our gate. Roadblock, GPS, post drop down in our road, and when we look, all of you are stop gone. I mean the entire thing, every single thing that in a Lamso district in a Craftail. You understand? So like some things really break me heart for you out there. You know, easy to leave the people them unattended, and it's still so hard. It's hard to leave them and it's hard to stay. It's a lot, me I tell you, like countless hours stops. Gone.
Despite the obstacles, the duo says they are not giving up anytime soon, determined to continue bridging the communication gap until every household is reconnected. Reporting for CVM News, I am Akeem Oret.
As the nation's agricultural backbone has been one of the sectors hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, led by St. Elizabeth native Minister Floyd Green, pledges decisive action to prevent food shortages and modernize farmer registration. Now, with vegetable and meat supplies under threat, the ministry is prioritizing strategies to soften the blow. Crystal Williams explains.
The Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green, says he has been working with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, and the National Fisheries Authority teams to assess the extent of the damage within the sector. He says the fisheries sector has lost about 40% of fishing fleet, as both infrastructure and equipment have been lost or damaged. The shortage of fish will be mitigated as soon as they are restored.
Some of our very active fishing beaches like Parity and Galleon and Lighthouse, Bluefields, all of those beaches are completely devastated. So in both agriculture and fisheries, I will speak to the costs. We had already put forward some preliminary figures, so we already know that it will be in excess of $20 billion.
The minister says that the government is considerate of the possibility that persons may have lost their fishing licenses or may not have had them in the first place. He says they are focused on the process of digitization, which started years ago, to update the ones they have on record record and provide them for those without.
So one of the things that we will focus on is how quickly can we get those officials that were up to date, that were already licensed with us, how can we get them back an actual copy of their license in their hand, which I've said to the team already should not be a long process. We have digital records now. It should be the process of just printing and redistributing those licenses. So,
in relation to the vegetable shortages being reported, the minister says most producers and retailers are focused on salvaging. He understands the demand for certain products does not weaken just because of a disaster.
So anytime you have a significant decrease in supply, then there will be an increase in prices. Clearly, one thing that we will have to do is tap into external sources in the short term. So we will tap into some of those external sources on the things that we know will be short. So we know that we've seen significant decline to things like cabbage, tomato, lettuce, carrot, those things that we consume a lot of.
In light of the recent reports of persons being warned against unsafe meat and poultry being purchased and sold, Minister Green says the Agricultural Protection Division of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, has been mobilized.
So the public health inspectors are out, our veterinary services division is out, and the Agricultural Protection Branch, our police, are out, trying to stop these vehicles, looking at transportation, looking at abattoirs, looking at meat shops, trying to ensure that whatever they have sourced from bona fide suppliers.
He says the reliance on external sources will be short-term, as the Ministry of Agriculture would like to restore farmers back into production as soon as possible.
We will start a process this week of distributing things like vegetable seeds, fertilizers, chemicals to get our farmers back out there. A lot of these are what we call cash crops, short-term crops. So in a few months, they can be back up and running. We're going to focus on that.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
We were 7% ahead of our best year ever. This is how Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining Floyd Green in Parliament on Tuesday reminisced on the agricultural sector up to September 2025 before the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Now, as we heard in the report just now, Minister Green said the damage inflicted on the sector is in excess of 20 billion Jamaican dollars.
Domestic crop production was estimated to reach 930,000 tons by year end, which would have been 10% above our record of 846,000 tons. Such growth represented significant progress towards our national food security goals and our rural development targets. However, regrettably, the hurricane's impact threatens to undo these gains, with serious implications for the wider economy. This late-season, high-intensity event is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of small island developing states, the reality of climate change, and the urgency of strengthening resilience as we respond to the immediate crisis.
Now, residents of a rural Portland community say a deteriorating roadway is putting their safety at risk. They argue that when vehicles pass, they're forced to squeeze into the corners of the narrow road, and poor drainage now sends rainwater into their yards. Our reporter Kevin Black visited the area and tells their story.
The road is so narrow, you can't send your kids on the road.
Residents in Long Bay, Port Antonio are disgruntled by some gaps identified in the road infrastructure, which they deem to be a health and safety hazard. Our news team recently caught up with some residents from the area, and they told us their prevailing plights, as well as some issues they want to be rectified by the relevant authorities.
There's no drains, there's no sidewalk, there's no retaining wall. There's nothing. No, the road was not lifted, and this is one of the most dangerous parts of the road when there's a hurricane. The sea comes in your house. The narrowness of the road, you can't make a mistake and walk sideways. You have to walk like a crab on the roadway.
They explain that when vehicles approach, they have no choice but to step into the corners of the road to avoid being hit.
Sometimes when the vehicle drive fast, we have to screech up in the corner. And sometimes we have to go so. You understand? You can lick your hand and then something, you understand?
Them things are not going to work. First of all, because you can't say road complete and we still have this, you know.
They're speeding a lot. My dog got knocked down because of a car overtaking and I was going to the beach.
Residents also pointed to poor drainage, explaining that rainfall often sends water flowing off the road and straight into their yards.
The road look like it need for even resurface and build back, or the drain need for rebuild, because the drain stop up and then now do no purpose.
When the rain fall, the whole of year so full of water. I can't come out of my yard, none at all.
I'm very concerned about this drainage right here in front of my business place. It's very unsanitary. There are rats, roaches, all of them something they pile up in it.
For now, residents say they'll continue to wait, hopeful that relief will come. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Now, criminologist Dr. Jason Mackay says the horrors that followed Hurricane Melissa could have a lasting impact on policing across affected areas. He notes that with the displacement of residents, law enforcement will face added challenges in maintaining order and ensuring public safety. Speaking on CVM's lead story on Tuesday, Dr. Mackay further explained that natural disasters often expose social vulnerabilities, which can lead to an increase in crimes of opportunity if not properly managed.
The dislocation alone is the problem. And there's so much dislocated persons are going to be moved into other places, and they're going there desperate. They're going there broke and penniless and homeless. And gangs are there waiting to take them in and manipulate them. And that's a big problem, you know. And so, the movement of persons is where the first.
This AI tool is better.
Leaving St. Elizabeth in significant numbers, and they become very vulnerable because they're going with nothing. So they become vulnerable to their own family members they're going to, but they're also moving into communities that have the gang-dominated communities, and they're going there poor and disconnected. So you find that is how you form new gang members. That's how gangs grow. So that alone creates problems, you know. And then there's also the, you know, how things things that normally persons can earn from, they can't earn anymore because industry has been destroyed. So the type of crime that comes from poverty, which is not gang crime but other crimes, will start to show its head soon.
Time now for a break. Our live interview comes up next.
Opportunity to firsthand see the devastation that this record Category 5 hurricane has caused on the nation. Let me reassure you, Jamaica, let me reassure you, my customers, that we here at JPS stand committed to work safely 24/7 to get the power restored.
Well, as for me personally, mess up totally. Door blow off, house full of water, set to your thing. But as a worker of the company, I have to be out here to help. But I will stick to the task to make this be a reality where people get a light and be happy again once more. JPS, love you.
It has been a very terrible situation in Montego Bay, especially where I come from. I am from Friendship. The storm Melissa has destroyed a lot of stuff, but nevertheless, as a worker, I am following my duty. I'm here to show up and to deliver, and I'm here to assist in recovering. And whatever it takes, we want Jamaica to know that we are here and we are moving forward, and there is hope.
Now, in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, Western Jamaica is still reeling not just from the physical damage, but from the emotional toll. Many residents in parishes like St. James, Hanover and Westmoreland are struggling to process loss, fear and uncertainty. Joining us now is psychologist Dr. Olivia Rose, who's in studio, and consulting psychologist Dr. Leakim Samaj, who's on Zoom. And they're here to help us understand the mental and emotional impact of this disaster and what healing might look like in the weeks ahead. So, Dr. Rose, let's start with you. What have you been observing in the days following Hurricane Melissa, where mental health is concerned for residents in Western Jamaica?
There are so many things that have been observed, especially as it relates to the mental health and emotional state of the people who have been directly and indirectly impacted. For example, you would see some symptoms of acute stress where there's numbness, irritability, people crying, people just uncertain of what's happening or what's going to happen. The social aspect of it, you would see some pro-social behaviors, even